And I know all this sounds bad, it really does, but the cold hard truth is, I think from here up until the NFL draft, it's only going to get worse for Jalen Carter. Let me ask you a question. Do you remember only a couple weeks ago, I'm going to repeat that word, only a couple weeks ago, when Jalen Carter was widely considered to be the number one pick in the NFL draft? Because, yeah, I remember as well. It's very hard to even consider at one point in time that was reality, because fast forward in time to the end of March, Jalen Carter isn't even being mentioned to be a top 5 pick. And I think we all know why that happened. There were some off-the-field issues that were being brought up, and Todd McShay was right. Many months ago, Todd McShay said there were some off-the-field problems with Jalen Carter, and everybody laughed at him, and well, he was right. He got the last laugh. I'm not going to dive into that too much. We all know what happened. But hey, no big deal, right? Okay, he's not going to be a top 5 pick. He'll for sure be a top 10 pick. But just like Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. Because now there are new rumors coming out that multiple teams are crossing him off the draft boards, including the Oakland Raiders. Man, oh man, it just continues to get worse for old Jalen Carter. Now it leaves me wondering, and let me know in the comment section what you think. How low in the draft will he actually fall? I mean, could we see a case and scenario where he doesn't come off the board until the 15th pick? And I get it, that's still good, but there was a point in time only a few weeks ago where nobody thought he was going to fall out of the top 3, yet alone the top 10. We're going to talk all about that in tonight's video. Also, we have one other minor topic to go over, and that is this NIL debate going on. Recently, the top 10 NIL earners for the college level came out, and it's quite shocking to say the least. One of the notable players on this list, one of the highest earners, is Arch Manning, but here's the catch. He's not even predicted to be the starter this season. It's going to be a jam-packed video. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first things first, let's go over this NIL. I only want to talk about it for a couple minutes because I really want to get into this Jalen Carter nonsense and mess going on. So On3 updated their NIL valuation list for the NIL top 100, and here's your top 10. And by the way, I have no idea how they come up with this list. I guess they combine it all together, but we're going to take a look at it regardless. At number 10, they got Hanzel Emmanuel. For those of you who don't know, that is the one-arm hooper that plays college basketball. At number 10, we got Bo Nix. Makes a lot of sense. He's been playing college for about 6 years now. At number 8, we got Drake May. Makes a ton of sense. 7, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, self-explanatory. 5, Caleb Williams. 4, Mikey Williams, college basketball player. At 3, we got good old Miss Olivia Dunn. We'll talk about that in a second. 2, we got Arch Manning at $3.7 million. And number 1, basically doubling up from number 2, we got Bronny James at 7.2. All of these are self-explanatory. They're not getting paid because they're the best of the best in their field. They're getting paid because they bring something to the table. For example, I mean this in the most respectful way possible, Livy Dunn. Why do you think she's getting $3.4 million? I'm asking you. Well, I'm not actually asking you. It's just a generic question. I'm going to tell you why. Livy Dunn isn't the best gymnast in the nation. Hey, she's not even the best on her team. She was hurt a majority of the season. She's getting $3.4 million because she's hot. Everybody knows it's true. I just got big enough balls to say it. She's making this money because she's hot. That's it. Not because of her gymnastic skills. Nobody cares about that. And hey, kudos and much respect to her. I'm not hating whatsoever. It just goes to prove that life isn't fair. She is a classic example of some people, they're lucky. She is very, very, very lucky she was born into this life with outstanding looks. On the flip side for Brian James, he's lucky that he was born as LeBron's son. When it comes to your life though, let's say you get a promotion at your job or something and somebody says, oh, he's lucky. I don't believe in that because that's called preparation meeting opportunity. What is straight up luck is being born as LeBron James's son, and I think we can agree on that. That's straight up luck because there was no preparation, no opportunity. That's just the hand you was dealt. Getting back on track here, everybody's making a big deal about this. Arch Manning, he's getting $3.7 million. But to me, I don't see the big deal. What do people not understand? If you are a son of an NFL legend and you also play quarterback and you're regarded as a 4- or 5-star recruit, yeah, when it comes to people paying you to endorse their clothing brand or car company or whatever, they're going to do it. And the bottom line is, let's say that Arch Manning, he lands a deal with some truck company like Chevy or Ford or whatever. He's going to bring in sales. And that's all these companies care about. Can they get a return on their investment when they invest their money into Arch Manning? As far as it goes for the rest of the list, I don't have too much to say. I think it's rather simple. Some of the people on here, they earned it themselves, and some of the other people, they got lucky. I'll leave it at that. But now finally, moving on to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, we got to talk about Jalen Carter. Look, we've already talked about what happened. If you're misinformed on what's led up to where we are today, you're just going to have to watch some of the previous videos. He had the entire mess with the police where he was at the combine and the news came out. He lied to police. He goes, he tries to fix that, and then he has his pro day at Georgia where he's supposed to show up and show out, and he looked pathetic. It was a miserable performance, and that was about a week or two ago. All you need to know is that nobody has hurt himself worse in the past month than Jalen Carter. And when I say hurt, I'm referring to the draft stock. I think a good way to put this is there's been a lot of concerns with his character. And a lot of people aren't even sold on the fact that he cares about football too much because, hey, if he really cared about it, he would have showed up and showed out for his pro day. And I'm not going to lie, me being 100% honest, if I was an NFL GM or a team selecting this draft, I wouldn't take Jalen Carter. There's no way. There is way, and I mean way too many red flags. I couldn't sleep at night knowing I picked this guy. Because if I go to bed just hoping and praying that Jalen Carter doesn't mess up and he pans out, that's not a guy I want to pick. I want to pick a guy like Will Anderson Jr., where I know he's going to give it 110% effort and I don't have to worry about his character. I want to pick a guy like CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Nolan Smith from Georgia, who also fall under that category. If you want to be risky when picking a guy who has off-the-field problems, you do that in the second or third round, not the first round. And I know there's going to be some people trying to have his back, and I get that, but I don't know how you can overlook what has happened. So check this out. According to the sources, it has been said that the Las Vegas Raiders have crossed Jalen Carter off their board and will not take him with the 7th overall pick. Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels previously stated that the team would do their homework on Carter, who was previously considered one of the top 2 or 3 players in the draft, but it seems that the team has decided to move on from him. Now here's what a lot of people are speculating. Hey, it's the Raiders. They don't want to take a chance because we all saw what happened with Henry Ruggs. And I do feel like to a certain degree that has a play into things. With the Raiders being notorious for selecting guys with shady past and red flags, they don't want to risk it again, and I get it. But another thing that has come out, as you can see right here, the newest update from the sources, is multiple NFL teams have taken Jalen Carter off their draft board for the 2023 NFL Draft. Oh man, this is a head-scratcher one for me, and I'm not even drafting this guy. He's not even on any of my boards. I couldn't imagine having to make the decision, hey, do we want to pay this guy $20 million or not? Because that's the stress these GMs and teams are under. These picks mean everything. And I can't emphasize this enough. I would not take this guy any chance whatsoever. I just couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't. I have too many concerns myself. And I either feel like for Jalen Carter, he's either going to be really, really, really good or really, really, really bad. No in-betweens. He's either going to be one of the best players in the NFL in 5 years or one of the worst players. That to me is how hit or miss Jalen Carter currently is. And it goes back to this. I cannot, and I mean I absolutely cannot take that risk with a top 10 pick or screw a top 10 pick. A first round pick. If I'm selecting in the first round, I can't take a chance and go, okay, well, this guy's either going to be really, really, really bad or really, really, really good. No, his downside at lowest has to be average. For example, Will Anderson Jr. for Alabama. Okay, he may not be one of the greatest players in the NFL, but I know at bare minimum, he's going to be decent. He's going to be good. It's the same thing for Georgia linebacker Nolan Smith. Okay, Nolan Smith may not be the next Ray Lewis, but he at bare minimum is going to be a decent linebacker in the NFL. With Jalen Carter, who knows what's going to happen, and that's what scares me, the unknown. I mean, would you pay a guy $20 million just kind of guessing and hoping it's going to pan out or work out? I wouldn't. And I know all this sounds bad, it really does, but the cold hard truth is, I think from here up until the NFL draft, it's only going to get worse for Jalen Carter. As humans, we fall victim to this all the time, in sports especially. We have recency bias. And most recently, what has happened for Jalen Carter, what he's put on tape and what he's done in his personal life, it's been bad. Now, if all of this would have happened a year, 2 years ago, it may be overlooked. But since all of it just happened, not a good look. And I almost forgot to talk about and bring this up, but Lions head coach Dan Campbell said in a recent interview that a teammate of Jalen Carter's gave him, quote-unquote, interesting information that nobody would have known. Dan Campbell would not expand on what he was told, but just left it at, it's interesting. Yeah, you know what I gotta say about that? Yeah. It's probably not good. Because if Jalen Carter's former teammate had something good to say about him, then Dan Campbell more than likely would have shared the information. I'm just going to leave it at this. There's a lot of weird things happening with Jalen Carter. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below, but right, Billy.